Hi everyone, it's Dr. Brad Meyer from Stephen F. Austin State University, where I'm the Associate Professor of Percussion. My third tip on the ATSSB timpani etude is going to be about stickings. So stickings on timpani are very important because we're moving such large distances and we're only playing 3 drums. We want to really make sure that we have a good philosophy and concept about how and when to do certain types of stickings. So the first thing that I always default to is just straight alternating sticking. Sometimes that means I have to start on my left to move up. Sometimes I start on my left to move down. Just make sure that you're always leading with the hand that you're sticking if possible, and that you're trying to avoid doubles and crossovers when you can. Now, when it comes to doubles and crossovers, those are always things that are going to inherently allow inconsistency into our playing. So make sure that you, first of all, write in what you're going to do, whether you're starting with a left, starting with a right, whether you have double lefts, crossovers, that you practice it the same way every time, and that you make sure that you're focusing on listening and also using your eyes to help you make sure that your consistency is good as well. So if we have doubles, especially between drums, we want to make sure that we're not accenting the first drum and that we're also moving from one good playing spot to the next good playing spot. We don't want to hit one drum in a great area and then one near the edge, or vice versa. And then also, when we think about crossovers, we have a lot of things we want to think about that you'll see in my video. I use some crossovers in this etude, and they're okay to use as long as you're making sure that you're removing the inconsistencies that inherently come with using crossovers. So the first thing is, obviously, for crossing over, we're going to have one hand or one mallet that's under and one that's over. So we want to make sure that we're neither accenting the drum where the hand's going over to, and we're also not under accenting or underplaying the hand that's being crossed over. So that's the first thing to listen and watch for. The second thing is to make sure that we're also getting to the proper area. When we cross over, we tend to not go all the way out as far as we should be because our hands are crossed up. So we want to make sure that we're finding those great playing areas on the drums. Lastly, we want to make sure that we have the appropriate striking angle. So when it comes to timpani and most percussion instruments, we want to make sure that we're hitting where the drum and the stick are parallel to each other, so that the stick isn't at an angle to what the drum would be, because that gets a bad sound, unless we want to use that sound for especially things like marimba, where we can use the crown to roll with a slightly softer sound. But for here, we want to make sure that as we're crossing over, that we're getting our hands, I personally touch them together, but we're getting them as low as possible so that the hand that's crossed over isn't playing like this, and we're hitting the top of the mallet. That's going to give us an inconsistent sound as well. So make sure that regardless of whatever sticking that you're using, that you're first of all trying to get out doubles and crossovers when you can, and that when you have doubles and crossovers, that you make sure that they're sounding consistent and that the rhythm and everything about them is nice and perfect. I hope that helps, and best of luck on your audition.